Good morning. I've been thinking a lot about habits lately because anytime you talk about basic mental performance stuff, you can't go real far without discussing habits. And a lot of times it's habits of excellence and pre-game routines and pre-performance routines. And there's power in habit. In fact, there's a book that I highly recommend you read called The Power of Habit. I think it was by Charles Duhigg. And it goes into the science, and it's a pretty long read, a lot of science behind it, but it's really important. I really enjoyed it because that's right in my wheelhouse of knowledge and interest. But even for me, it took a while to read it. Even if you go on the internet and do a book summary website or something like that, I really encourage you to take a look at it. And the reason why it's so important is we talk about learning habits, but then we also have these unproductive and unhealthy habits we want to unlearn. And I think there is the error in thinking, because the human body and brain together make a habit-forming machine. The brain thrives on habit, and to imagine that you're going to unlearn a habit is not very effective, because the inherent problem with that is you're already doing something. Your brain and your body want to continue doing it, and by focusing on not doing the thing, you're still focused on the thing, and the habit is then still encouraged and likely reproduced. So if you want something different, you have to go towards something different. I mentioned this in both personal character development, culture development, any type of program where you want to achieve something. You're not successful by focusing on what you don't want. There's no outcome defined. You have to have an outcome defined in order to be successful. And so when we talk about habits of the mind and body, you have to go towards something, not away from something. The more you focus on something, the more it grows. They give the example of, don't think about a pink elephant, right? You're going to think about a pink elephant. You're going to try so hard to not think about a pink elephant. Even if you think about a green elephant, you're still thinking about an elephant, right? Which means you're still thinking about a pink elephant. That's how the brain works. And it's hard to stop. It's not possible to stop the brain from working. The brain is always working, and even when you're asleep. That's when they talk about different sleep cycles and how memories are formed. Memories are retained and stored for recall, which is why memories can be misunderstood or misremembered if you're not programming them or saving them properly. And it's the error is in the thought process of how you're going to do something different. I have a bad habit, so therefore I want to stop this habit. When you think about attention, when you give attention to things, you think attention like currency, right? You get a paycheck, you have money, you spend money. The more you spend on one thing, the less you have to spend on another thing. Attention is the same way. If I give my attention to a bad habit, even in the idea that I want to stop that habit, I'm still giving that habit more of my paycheck. And so therefore, I don't have the time and attention, I don't have the currency to go spend it on something else. So the answer then, and the problem with that is people are like, well, what if I give partial attention to this and partial attention to that? Another trick of the brain is it doesn't want to give something partial attention. That's why multitasking doesn't work. You can't give, 25 to this, 25 to this, 25 to this, 25 to this. It doesn't work that way. It's actually going to end up being like nothing. If everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So instead, the brain tends to gravitate more to like an 80-20. So if you try to give something your attention, it's probably going to capture a lot of your attention. If you try to give your attention to multiple things, you're not really going to give attention to anything. You're just going to be scattered all over the place, and you're not really going to be focused and give your attention to anything. So with that 80-20 rule in mind, you want to deliberately decide, what am I going to give 80% of my attention to? Because that's what's going to happen anyway. So you start to see the flaw here, in that if I give a bad habit 80% of my attention, in order to stop that habit is still going to be top of mind. So therefore, the answer is, what do you actually want to accomplish? So let's use the example of, I realize that smoking or whatever, vaping, dipping, chewing tobacco, whatever you're doing, that particular habit associated with smoking. Let's stick with smoking. You can insert your own. This is an unproductive habit. Okay, what do I want to accomplish? And then, of course, the first thing in your mind is, I want to stop smoking. Okay, so, but what do you actually want to do? What's the reason? Let's take a step back. Let's talk about, why do you want to stop smoking? Because it's unhealthy. Okay, still a negative, still a bad thing. Flip it to healthy. What do you want to accomplish? I want to be more healthy. Okay, you don't have to focus on the negative. You've already identified, I smoke, smoking's bad. I want to stop smoking. I want to be more healthy. Okay, what does that include? I want to be more physically fit. I want to breathe effectively so that I can do intense workouts, extended workouts, whatever it is the goal that you want to achieve. You hear a lot of people that say, well, in order to quit smoking, I decided to start chewing sunflower seeds. And at first, when I heard that, I'm like, well, you're just replacing one habit with another. Well, yeah, that's the point. Your brain has to have something to go to. And if I smoked when I was young, it hasn't been in a long time. But I wasn't really an addictive personality. And I just decided one day I wanted to quit, and I did. And I understand that's not a reality for most people. Most people need more than that, especially if you've been doing it for a long time. Now, I know a lot of people who have smoked for a long time and did something similar. They were like, I want to quit, and it was very soon after. They were like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just not going to smoke anymore. It's a decision. There's something deeper here. And this is a little bit off topic, but it's relevant to this specific topic. The more you identify with something, the less likely you're to give it up, which is, again, why you need to deliberately go to something. So listen to these two phrases and see if you can hear the difference. I'm a smoker versus I'm a person who smokes. See the difference? The first one is an identity. You are identifying as a person who smokes. And so therefore giving up the smoking is harder because you're identifying it as part of your character, one of your characteristics. And I have a good friend who's smoked since she was 15, and she just wants to stop smoking. And in conversation, I have heard that phrase before. There's an identity associated with it. Oh, I've just done it so long, it's just kind of who I am. Well, then the habit, the first step to that habit is actually identity. You have to go deeper. you're not going to be able to break that habit because you believe it's part of who you are. So you have to eliminate the phrase, I am a smoker, to, I used to be a smoker, and soon I'm not going to be anymore. Eliminate that from. And it's powerful. I've said it before, and it's something I need to remind you of. Don't confuse simple with easy. It's simple, right? It makes sense. You remove it from your belief system, change the habit, you're good. It's simple, it's not easy. So how do you actually make it happen? Self-awareness. Am I confusing this as a belief system? Yes or no? How do I change that? Self-talk, change your belief system over time. Then you need to decide what you're actually going toward. What do I actually want to accomplish? Healthy lifestyle, want to be able to breathe better. You could even go into detail, like talking to the rugby teams, sports teams. You have above the line and below line behaviors, meaning you decide on a culture, you decide on your character, you decide on your goals, and then automatically, based on the illusion of choice, the greater your goals, the more defined your character, the fewer decisions available to you. Based on your decisions, there are certain things now no longer available to you. If you really want that bad enough, there's a whole bunch of stuff you don't get to do anymore. Same thing, if you say you want this, you're obligated to do certain things. Using myself as an example, I don't want to be stuck in traffic in the morning heading to work, so therefore I leave early. Okay, well, that's a great idea, but that means I'm going to be to work 3 hours early. No. So instead, I inject, hey, I've been meaning to go to the gym anyway. If I wait till later in the day, there's a pretty strong chance I'm not going to go. So what do? I leave early, I go to the gym, I get my gym time, I'm down by work earlier, and then from the gym I only have a 10-minute drive, cool, and then I get to leave a little bit earlier, right? I understand that's my specific circumstance, not everybody has that, but again, that's why I'm making a plan based on my circumstances, my goals, my desired outcomes. You may have different constraints than I do, I get it, but that's the deliberate attention that you need to give to the circumstances. If I wait until after work, I'm probably not going to go to the gym. As much as I would want to, I value my evening time with my family. That's when they're home from school, my wife is, doing her thing. We can cook together, we can do some activities together. And then, if I'm going to the gym for an hour, with drive time and changing and all the other stuff, could be upwards of 2 hours, and I might not be getting home until 6:30. It's not when I want to be home. So I make choices. Those are there are no sacrifices, there are only decisions. And those are the decisions that I've made based on the outcome that I desire. So what is the outcome you desire? Healthy, productive outcome. Not running from something, run to something. What is the healthy, productive outcome you desire? And what are the behaviors necessary to support that? And if you're still having trouble with that, then there's probably something associated with your belief system that you need to modify and adapt, such as, am I a smoker or am I a person who smokes? So take some time this week to reflect and start breaking it down. And, listen to, if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of the other videos, because you're going to start hearing some things that either are repetition, which means they're important. Don't be like, oh, you talked about this yesterday, I'm not going to listen. Repetition is important, right? Habit. It matters. But it also matters in context. So if I've talked about that certain subject before, why was I talking about it yesterday? Why am I talking about it today? What's the context in which I'm talking about it? because maybe I'm talking about the same thing, but I'm talking about a different subject. Chances are they're related, and they're probably going to build on each other. And you can't solve everything at once, right? We're not going to solve all the world problems by Saturday. And you're certainly not going to solve all of your challenges by Saturday. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying that mastery, lifelong learner mentality of just a little bit better each day. And so that's why I encourage a little bit of reflection. What can you do, one thing this week, to make it a little bit better, to make your life a little bit better, to get you a little bit closer to your goals? Do some self-reflection. Think about what you want to accomplish. What are some of the barriers that are in your way? Awareness, yes, 20% awareness on the bad, negative, unhealthy, unproductive things. 80% of your attention then goes to what do you actually want to accomplish? Because if you want to change something, yeah, sure, you want to be aware of what the thing is you want to change. You just don't want to give it 80% of your attention. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear how this is all relevant to you. What are the challenges that you're facing? What are you trying to accomplish? And that's where I love the conversation. I would like the conversation to be the majority of what are you actually trying to accomplish? Because we don't always necessarily need to fix broken things, because chances are you're not broken. And that's the beauty of mental performance, is that I'm not a clinical specialist, and that was by intention, because what they do is valuable. Psychologist, clinical counselor, there's a lot of hurt and healing from hurts that needs to occur. That's great. There's also the importance of focusing on strengths, focusing on where you're going, and that's what I do. So do some reflection. I hope you have a great week. Hit me up, send me a message, drop a comment. Let me know what you're trying to accomplish. Share your goals. Tell me what you want to do. 2025, right? It's a new year, new opportunity. Whether you believe in that or not, it's an opportunity to do something. It's not an obligation. However, the more you want something, the more you are obligated to do something. So let's define that. Let's talk about what that looks like and how we can support you. How can we best support you so that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish? Have a great day.